хорошо, Донбасс захватил. Да, Донбасс.
Good afternoon, dear colleagues. We begin talking about the statement of the Coalition of Patriotic Forces of Donbass to special status of Donbass. In that frame, we'll have Serhiy, president of Center of Social Perspectives of Donbass, coordinator of coalition, leader of the Center of Political Studies, and Pavlo Zhovnirenko, coordinator of Coalition of Patriotic Forces of Donbass, and Natalya, Tselovalnychenko, head of the NGO Luhansk Human Rights Group, and of the Patriotic Forces of Donbass Coalition. The floor is yours. Thank you. Well, last actions of the government around all related to Donbass and the situation there call a lot of cause some uneasiness among patriotic organizations that had to leave occupied Donbass. So we united into the coalition of Patriotic Forces of Donbass, and we analyzed when we analyzed those steps of the government, we developed this statement. I'll read the whole thing, but just main points. And to change the constitution under the influence from outside, and the visit of Newland to the parliament, the Minsk agreements, and on which are not transparent for us. We not always understand what is taking place there in the interest of Ukraine, what is not in the interest of Ukraine. That is in principle a pressure on our state, and because we are not just patriotic citizens of Ukraine, we are interested, we are stakeholders, we have our property there, our relatives, and we are not indifferent to how the government is dealing with these issues. It's not a politics for us. We express our angoisse because they decide for us, and they don't do it transparently. We believe that the efforts to pull into our constitution an amendment which legitimizes militants because it like specifics of local self-governance. It is not unacceptable, and its relation will be just imitation of jurisdiction of Ukraine on occupied territories. So, in Minsk agreements, they mention concrete law about specifics of local self-governance. And they gave a concrete number of that law. When we analyzed that law, we came to the conclusion that its implementation, we will have to implement that if we have that article in the Constitution. That's very dangerous for Ukraine and for us as residents of Donbass, and also for IDPs. We believe that rules in that law, or norms in that law about people's police and everything. American build his own police. Local prosecution will have to work together with the local authorities and prosecutor judges. So they create the system when we patriotic citizens of Ukraine will not be able to participate in elections there. They are trying to have them there because to go to the territory where police reported to separatists and prosecution is controlled by them, and courts also under them. That means like a suicide. They will throw plant drugs, and they will take me to the court. Bring back jurisdiction. It does not allow that. According to that law, Article 7 of that law provides introduction of a different economic regime, of different investment activity in those districts, and that position, in my opinion, is discriminatory and towards other territories of Donbass, which were not captured or liberated, because it creates not equal conditions, and it stimulates separatism, because creating special conditions for investments and economic activity on those territories, we in fact create a precedent for the international law. We believe that legally it's an absolute Article 8 of that law which says about encouragement of development in separate regions of Donetsk of transborder cooperation in order to solve problems of and enhancement of neighborhood relations between rural communities and regions of with Russian Federation. It's when Russia, as we know, occupied Crimea. Russia was declared by the parliament as the country aggressor, and Russia is inspires and supports and organizer of everything which is happening in Donbas. And this law provides some kind of special transborder cooperation with the territories of Russian Federation. It's not logic as minimum. I will not read the whole list of all positions of our statement. It will be distributed among you. But I'd like to underline, just to put all the dots or I's, and to call things, to call a table, to call a spade, and to stop manipulation with words. We demand to declare Donetsk and martial law in Donetsk and Luhansk regions, and to all those territories should be recognized occupied by Russian Federation. Next point, and it's about IDPs, and they have no chance to participate in local elections. Legally, we should provide participation in local elections. So IDPs should vote in the framework of those territorial communities where they live. And the most important requirement publicly to develop and approve in the parliament the state strategy how to solve the problem conflict in Donbass, and it should be guided in internal and foreign policy of Ukraine. So we must know when we move how our government is trying to solve the problem, and that will prevent that situation when they tell us that at Donbass they sell it for Crimea, or the US sold Ukraine for Syria and Iran, and we want to know how the government will resolve the problem in Donbass, and we have the right to get involved into the strategy development. And also our coalition of Patriotic Forces of Donbass in February we presented and developed and set to all the government our strategy. So how we see our vision how to solve the problem. Nobody was in opposition to us and what the government did. It seems like they were according to our strategy, but recently and after events in Minsk, we think under the external pressure, something happened. We started to change. But if we analyze Minsk agreements, there is a very important point. Withdrawal all military formations, the weaponry and the mercenaries from the territory of Ukraine. Let's think. Territory of Ukraine. Crimea is a territory of Ukraine. Why Minsk agreements are not don't include the problem, don't solve the problem. We have the same aggressor, the same country of aggressor. Why it's not mentioned Crimea? Minsk agreements without. They gave us room not to legitimize militants in our legislation. Russia should pull back its military forces from all territory of Ukraine, and including Crimea, and then we will solve the issue of Donbass also. Thank you. My colleagues will add. We believe, as lawyers and advocacy group and members of the council, the main threat is that there is no public discussion in Ukrainian people, among Ukrainian strategy how to resolve the problem in Donbass. What do we see? There are some Minsk agreements, meetings, and there are meetings with the politicians of Western countries. But what do we see in our country? How Ukrainian community, how people are participating in the processes. No involvement. So, Ukrainian people, they just give us as a fact that here There are amendments to the Constitution. Here's the law, which should resolve all the issues, but we see that these issues are not resolved. They are aggravated. That's why we demand there should be public discussion, and there should be the strategy should be developed how to solve the problem in Donbass. That's why we appeal to the president and to the parliament and to the cabinet of ministers of Ukraine, to people of Ukraine, that we need to hold parliamentary hearings on these issues, and they should be transparent, clear for all. There should be such policy on issues how to resolve the problem in Donbass. And we see a lot of threats from the point of view that our constitution will have reference to just a law which can regulate some kind of issue about the problem of Donbass. It means that by simple majority of votes at any time, anything can be written in such a law. We are concerned that there is no legal stability and clarity in such issue. There is a big threat to Ukraine. There is a pressure from outside, and we see that external interests, foreign so-called partners of Ukraine, they dominate over interests of Ukrainian people and over interests of those people who were forced to leave from Donbass. And IDPs, we have more than 1,300,000 who are trying to stand for their rights. But also we see that the Ukrainian people and IDPs, they are not hurt by the government. The threat could be that the conflict will escalate, and it's in our society and also in the East. You get the news. We see the situation from inside, because we have people we have contacts with. Militants are not going to do anything from those Minsk agreements. Our people continue dying. Civilians die. So nothing is happening for us to be able to say, yes, the Russian Federation is trying to do something to comply with political agreements. And the second serious threat is double standards as to Donbass and Crimean too. What do we see? The war is called ATO. This is the first violation in the Constitution of Ukraine. According to Article 64 of the Constitution of Ukraine, it says clearly that any limitation of rights of people, citizens, can happen only under conditions of extreme situation or martial law. We don't have anything, and we see that now there are some limitations of human rights, and they have grounds from the point of view of the situation, but no grounds from the point of view of Ukraine. Oligarchs can resolve the issues in Donbass and with Russian Federation, and trade issues can solve such issues in Crimea. But when it's about common people, civilians, and we see that they cannot do anything because everything is prohibited. They introduce limitations, but why they don't limit oligarchs? Why only nothing is applied to Khmerov, etc.? That's why we demand that these double standards and should be cancelled and introduce martial law, and it should bring the situation into the legal field, and it should regulate the situation for Ukraine to be able to win. Thank you. Pavlo Zhovnirenko. Minsk agreements are not working. That's everybody knows, and what Serhiy read, that's one of the agreements, and from September. It didn't work because they didn't pull out illegal military groups, and if they are not complied with some, then the agreement is not working. That makes no sense. Ukraine goes to Minsk 2 and now Minsk 3. International community developed some algorithm for every standard of violation of international law. Ukraine goes some other way. It's not a war. It's an absence. It's war and absence of war. It's anti-terrorist operation which continues for a year and a half. Anti-terrorist terrorism when the SICO is on operation table and a surgeon left and there's observe what will happen to it, to him. That's why, seeing that the coalition of Patriotic Forces of Donbass, we are not the smartest in the country. We just look at the situation from there, and we support contacts with those who fight and who are inside. We develop this strategy. Main points of the strategy is to prevent the conflict, is a clear thing, clarity to recognize those territories occupied by Russian Federation, because all the rest of the variants they give that unclear. They give allow to make a hybrid situation. Russia run a hybrid war, and Ukraine behaves unclear. It's not clear what we want. And seeing that those short-term goals are not achievable, and we continue to get into a bigger problem. When Ukraine announces officially that those territories are occupied by Russian Federation, and Ukraine under such conditions will not try to get them by military force, so we put all the responsibility for the situation in Russian Federation, and by that we give the reasons for Russian Federation to be responsible not only to Ukraine for what they did during the attack and what they do now with the hands of their mercenaries. I don't say even that amendments to the Constitution, that is a violation of our rights, and it should not happen. With adoption of algorithm that territory of LNR and DNR is occupied territories, Ukraine should do everything for residents who would like to live there. We should help them to move I will not speak about all the details. In Google, just a strategic PSD, and yes, we hand it out to journalists. It has everything, and the strategy time showed that it can work. It is supported by experts, Ukrainian and foreign. One of people. It's also. I speak to Western experts, and that's the only solution. The only thing they are not talking about officially. They don't say that. That's it. Thank you very much. If you have anything to say as a summary, please. I believe that if they introduce amendments to the Constitution, and if they raise the issue as to territorial integrity of Ukraine, that should happen at the agreement of Ukrainian people, transparently. And also, if they introduce some changes to the Constitution, new Constitution, it should be done according to the agreement of Ukrainian people and also at the referendum. That's why we demand that they should include interest, take into consideration all the interest of Ukrainian people as to the Constitution and status of Donbass. Now we move to questions, and here's the first question. Tell me, in the light of recent visit of Victoria Lund, she had a meeting with opposition. Will it be elections, local elections? Will it be a revanche of opposition bloc and also the party of regions? In our opinion, the issue of elections, we discussed it. Just to make the situation smooth, we made it smooth in our statement. The issue of elections and revanche, will be a result if we call it the things a spade a spade. To prohibit elections is not illegal, and we are against that prohibition. Everything should be according to the law. Introduce the martial law, and all there should be elections. But then you get what you are supposed to get, and the revanche of the opposition bloc, and not strengthening of a negative situation there, because opposition bloc will use that to press on Ukraine and to improve their popularity, etc. In such a case, if they approve the constitution they want, that will pull additional risks, because there will be revenge of a opposition bloc on their territory. There will be an additional base to the promoted LNL, DNR, and other projects of Russian Federation inside to Ukraine. They will join, for example, Luhansk and Donbass regions to such formations, and those are the biggest risks. And then Kharkiv region, Odessa region, why not us? If it works there, why not? Especially if we take the results of elections for 2010, and we see who voted for Yanukovych and supported the party of regions, the situation is not very good. And central Ukraine and even Transcarpathia, they had the party of regions had a high support there. That's an alarm. If those who are in the government, if they don't wake up, if they don't comply with the constitution, we can risk that we can lose Ukraine, and we can aggravate the problem, escalate the situation. If there is any question, is there any question? It's not a secret. Everybody saw that amendment to the constitution was under the pressure of the international community. Will it be if we don't accept those amendments? Will it be a negative reaction? Let's look at Greece. It's clearly the government stands for interests of the people, and even if it's creates negative emotions among Western interest. The question, for whom stands our president and our government? We would like him to stand for us, and should look for a compromise with Western countries and partners, considering interests of Ukrainian people, and implementing the constitution of Ukraine and organization, and some activists. We spoke to highest administrative court, and with the requirement that the president of Ukraine should apply the constitution, introduce martial law in Donetsk and Luhansk region. There will be a court procedure at 2 o'clock in the highest administrative court of Ukraine will come, and you will see how the representative of the president behaves, and the attitude of the present Ukrainian people, and the action of the U.S. Let's remind to the U.S. that there was a Budapest memorandum. They should comply. They should comply with Budapest, and then we will speak about Minsk agreements, which are not ratified by the parliament. It's not clear what it is. I wouldn't rely on put more responsibility on the West or the U.S. First of all, our government should be responsible. We have no strategy. There's no clear strategy for all. It allows to someone to influence, to change the opinion of the government, because there is no opinion which in the strategy. That's why our main condition requirement in February and now. Approve the strategy as already can be acceptable. Okay, suggest your own. I'll explain why it doesn't work, because life shows it works. And as to the US, it was mentioned. We should ask, whom did you take? Whom did you give the oath to international community, to the people of Ukraine, the president and the parliament? Any question? If not, thank you very much for your presentation, and we hope that the government will remember they gave the oath to Ukrainian people. And in 5 minutes.